Would you tell the truth if it meant losing everything you've worked so hard for? It's a tough question, isn't it? We all like to think we do the right thing, but when faced with a real choice, a choice between personal gain and personal integrity, what would you truly do? Let's travel back in time, to a place where such a choice wasn't just a hypothetical, but a daily reality. Imagine the ancient, bustling marketplace of Damascus. The air is thick with the scent of spices, the sound of merchants calling out their wares, and the vibrant colors of silks, pottery, and exotic fruits. It's a symphony of life, a place where fortunes are made and lost in the blink of an eye. In the heart of this chaotic, beautiful city, there was a small shop tucked away in a busy alley. This shop belonged to a man named Zubair. Now, Zubair wasn't the wealthiest merchant in Damascus. His shop wasn't the largest, nor were his goods the most exotic. But he possessed something far more valuable than gold or jewels. He had a reputation. In a world where a clever lie could earn you a quick profit, Zubair was known for something rare, unwavering honesty. People didn't just come to his shop to buy goods. They came because they trusted him. They knew that with Zubair, the price was fair, the quality was as promised, and his word was his bond. This trust was the foundation of his livelihood, the invisible currency that made his small business thrive. One sweltering afternoon, as the golden sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets, a stranger walked into Zubair's shop. He was clearly a traveler, his clothes dusty from a long journey and his face weathered by the sun. He introduced himself as a merchant from Egypt, his eyes scanning the shelves with a practiced, discerning gaze. His attention was quickly captured by a particular roll of silk. It was a magnificent piece, the color of a deep sunset, with threads that shimmered and danced in the fading light. It was, without a doubt, the finest piece in Zubair's collection. The traveler from Egypt was captivated. He ran his hand over the smooth fabric, his appreciation evident. "This is beautiful," he said, his voice filled with admiration. "I must have it. What is your price?" Zubair named a price. It was a fair price, but for a piece of this quality, it was a significant sum. For Zubair, this single transaction would be a huge sale, more than he often made in an entire week. The traveler didn't even haggle. He nodded in agreement and began to reach for his purse, ready to count out the coins. Zubair's heart beat a little faster with anticipation. This was a blessing, a truly prosperous day. He carefully took the roll of silk from the shelf to measure and wrap it for his customer. As he began to unroll the luxurious cloth, his experienced fingers felt a slight imperfection. He stopped and looked closer. There it was, a tiny tear, almost invisible, hidden right at the very edge of the fabric. It was so small, so insignificant, that the traveler would likely never even notice it. Even if he did, he would be long gone on his way back to Egypt. For a fleeting moment, a whisper of temptation slithered into Zubair's mind. The voice of Shaitan, the tempter, was smooth and persuasive. "He'll never know," it hissed. "Think of the Prophet. Your family needs this. It's such a small flaw it doesn't even matter. Don't be a fool, just take the money." Zubair paused. The weight of that decision settled heavily on his shoulders. He looked at the gleaming coins the traveler was about to hand him. He thought about what that money could do, the security it could provide. The temptation was real, it was powerful. But then, another voice, a deeper, truer voice, rose from within his heart. It was the voice of his faith, his Iman. He may never know, it reminded him, but Allah always knows. Allah is Al-Basir, the all-seeing. Every action, every intention is witnessed by Him. That single thought was like a cool drink of water on a hot day, clearing his mind and strengthening his resolve. What was a momentary profit compared to the eternal pleasure of his Creator? What was the wealth of this world compared to the richness of a clear conscience? Zubair took a deep breath, looked up from the fabric, and met the traveler's eyes with a warm, genuine smile. "Brother," he said calmly, his voice steady, "before you pay, I must show you something." There is a small flaw in this fabric, a tiny tear right here at the edge. He pointed it out, making sure the traveler could see it clearly. Because of this, I cannot sell it to you for the full price. Let me lower it for you. The traveler from Egypt fell silent. He looked from the small tear in the fabric to Zubair's honest face. He didn't say a word for what felt like a long time. Zubair's heart pounded in his chest. Had he made a mistake? Had he just lost the biggest sale of the month? Then, a slow smile spread across the traveler's face, mirroring Zubair's own. It was a smile of deep respect and understanding. He shook his head gently. No, he said, his voice firm. Keep your price. I will pay the full amount. Zubair was taken aback. But brother, he insisted, the fabric is flawed. It wouldn't be fair to you. The traveler raised a hand, his smile widening. My friend, he explained, I am no longer just buying this roll of silk. At this moment, I am buying your honesty. Your integrity is worth far more to me than a few saved coins. He paid the full price, took the silk, and with a final nod of gratitude, he left the shop and disappeared back into the crowded market. Zubair stood there for a moment, holding the coins in his hand, his heart filled with a profound sense of peace and gratitude. He had chosen honesty over profit, and instead of feeling loss, he felt an overwhelming sense of richness. But the story doesn't end there. The true reward for his honesty was yet to come. Weeks turned into months. One day, a new group of merchants arrived at Zubair's small shop. They were from out of town and they wanted to buy a large quantity of his goods. Zubair asked them how they had heard of his humble business in the vast city of Damascus. Their leader smiled and replied, We were sent by a fellow merchant from Egypt. He told us that if we were ever in Damascus and needed to trade with a man whose word was as good as gold, we should look for no one else but you. From that day on, Zubair's shop was never empty. A steady stream of new customers, all sent by or having heard from that one traveler, came to his door. His business didn't just survive. It flourished beyond his wildest dreams. He became more prosperous than he had ever imagined, not through a single lucky sale, but through a reputation built on a single principled choice. He hadn't lost anything that day. He had gained everything. This beautiful story teaches us a powerful lesson about Barakah, the divine blessing and abundance that Allah bestows upon us. When you prioritize honesty, when you put your trust in Allah above worldly gain, He doesn't just protect you from loss. He opens doors of provision from places you could never have imagined. The small amount Zubair was willing to sacrifice was returned to him manifold. His wealth didn't decrease. It multiplied, blessed by the very source of all wealth. It reminds us that true wealth isn't just the money in our pockets. It's the peace in our hearts, the trust of our community, and the barakah that flows into our lives when we live in accordance with our principles. Honesty is not a liability. It is the ultimate investment. It may seem like you're losing in the short term, but the long-term gains, both in this life and the next, are immeasurable. So, the next time you face a choice between an easy lie and a difficult truth, remember the story of Zubair, the merchant of Damascus. Remember that every transaction, every conversation, every choice is a test. And when you choose honesty, you're not just making a good business decision. You are making a profound statement of faith. You are choosing to trust in Allah's plan and His promise. And as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us, honesty brings tranquility. If this story resonated with you and touched your heart, please share it with a friend, a family member, or anyone who might need this gentle reminder. Let's spread this beautiful message together. And don't forget to comment below with the words, "Honesty never decreases wealth." Until next time, may your lives be filled with truth, integrity, and abundant barakah.